All right. Welcome to this week's edition of $3 Parlay. Graham here with Sirio. This week, unfortunately, we are not in the same room because I really wish we were now that I've finally taken over the scoreboard. Hey, Michael, how are you doing?
I'm good. Not as good as you did last week, and not as good as my Monday Night Football Colts Saints over under. Still a little bit upset about that. It's the first thing I'm going to say, probably the last thing I'll say. I've never seen a team start kneeling the ball at the 2 minute warning. I just moving on.
It's probably not going to be the last thing you say about it, probably because I'm going to bring it up a couple more times. But yeah, what a brutal Monday night game to end the week on, and even more brutal that it would have been the first $3 parlay that we would have hit since we started shooting the show. So live to fight another day. Locks aren't necessarily locks, but if we take a look at the scoreboard, Michael last week went 400 on his picks, netting him about $5.10. Whereas I went 800 on the week, netting me $13.37. And the scoreboard today sits at Michael $34.15 and myself at $39.73. So, like I told you last week, I've steadily grown each week from 20 to 40 to 60 to 80%. You might as well go ahead and bet the whole farm this week on everything I put because we're going 100% this week.
Yeah, no, you've definitely shown a nice linear uptick, graduating 20% each week. What you want to see, learning from your mistakes. Me, on the other hand, I don't know what's going on. This last week was tough. I did miss a couple really, really close games, but I'm just not having good bets. So we'll get it turned around here. The one thing that's kind of keeping me in it is I've been missing my $3 parlays by one pick for the last 3 weeks. This week was the first week it wasn't your fault. I didn't take one of your picks and it lost for me. So I have no one to point the finger at but myself. Unfortunately, yeah, we'll have to see if I can get over that 40% mark this week.
All right. Well, let's before we jump into your bets, since you'll make the first bets, if you just want to do a quick recap, I don't know if there's any of these specifically that you want to talk about. I don't necessarily want to highlight one that you're forced to talk about, but
Well, let's start off on the first one that I had. It was the Bears at the Packers. I took the Bears 4.5. Um, I said that I thought Green Bay was going to win. I just thought it was going to be a close game. I was right on one of those pieces for 59 minutes of the game, except for that final play where they were lateraling the ball and probably should have tied it up, gone for two. So that was closer than I think the score showed. The game ultimately didn't go how I thought it was going to be, but happy about the Packers win, but sad that I ended up losing the bet. The next one, again, tough. Colts at Saints. I think I said last week if I get 35 from the Saints, I'll feel really good about it. Ended up getting pretty much that number. But the Colts were
you got
just
that.
the Colts. I don't know what they were doing. I really don't. I mean, I watched pretty much the entire game, and the Colts just looked bad. The Saints to make the joke that I did last week. The Saints in the Super Bowl or the Superdome. They are a different team. They're a scary team. I don't know if there's an NFC competitor that wants to go there in the playoffs. So I'm glad at least the Packers are sitting a little bit higher than them. And then my last three that I didn't put too much money on was Rams Cowboys. What happened here? Dak Prescott
It was
tried to do
bad.
everything possible. He tried to give the Rams the ball to start both halves. No, he didn't try. He did, and they still got blown out by almost 20 points. The Cowboys got their first win. They're now 1-6 against teams with winning records. So I don't know what we're gonna do here. I mean, we're actually gonna have to come up with some
The
content
math is
for
all
our
messed
bet.
up.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. So between those, we're looking at $7.50 of my bets, all losses. And it was my final two that I kind of just came up with on the fly. Bucks Lions. I said, I like Jameis, and I said I think he's gonna do better. Not having Mike Evans in there to throw 4 or 5 interceptions with. He did.
Little did you know that both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin was the secret for him to just play out of his
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. What is that? Um, he looked good in the first drive. He threw an interception to start the game. So, I thought we were going to get Jameis there, and then he decided he was going to throw for 458 yards, be the first NFL quarterback in history to have 2 consecutive games with over 450 yards. So that one hit for me pretty easy. Probably in hindsight, should have put a little bit more money on it. The Lions are just a bad team. They're not getting any takeaways. They couldn't even get it from Jameis. And then last was Vikings Chargers. This game also went pretty much how I predicted it. Um, Philip Rivers, I think he had 4 or 5 turnovers, interceptions, and fumbles. Melvin Gordon was benched for fumbling, and outside of a Dalvin Cook shoulder injury, the Vikings were hitting on all cylinders. So I don't know what happened. Hit on my last 2 convincingly, and my first 3 that I normally feel pretty good on were just massive whiffs. Um,
Yeah. I
yeah,
still can't believe you got plus 110 odds on the Vikings game. Because that,
yeah,
that really saved you. But
yeah. So we'll see. I don't know if it was, going out west or what the deal was, but that, keeps me ahead. And what did we say the total was? I'm up by just a few pennies. It seems like you're storming back on the season total.
oh
Um,
no, I'm up on the season total.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
by about five
And then
dollars.
and then my $3. So I'll just run over it real quick. Buffalo, Pittsburgh. I took the Bills +2 from you. That looked great. Eagles, Redskins. Wow. That did not hit
What a
until
finish!
the final. Yeah, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching it on my app because I'm watching the Packers game on TV, and I'm depressed because I think that that's going to blow it. And all of a sudden, I see the Eagles winning by 10. So I'm just, I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be the luck that I needed, and then finish off with my Colts Saints over, and you know, don't have to say it again. Never seen a team start kneeling the ball at the 2-minute warning. But on that note, I'll hand it off to you. A little bit higher note. We'll kind of go over some wins for our podcast and for our listeners because right now I am just the opposite. I'm just
Move
doing
it,
horribly. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
move it to a
let's hand it over to
positive,
you.
positive light. No, that's
Right,
good.
right.
All right, so the only one that I didn't hit on this week was my Jets Ravens pick. I think I was just mad at myself or at the Ravens from the previous week and thinking they'd have a trap game this week. And so I took the Jets at +16. That was not the case. The Ravens ran all over the Jets in one of the best Thursday night romps we've seen in a while. Outside of that, everything else held pretty true. Army at Navy, again, under 40.5 points, which was a really great game. Buffalo Steelers. Nobody circles wagons like the Buffalo Bills. I'll tell you that right now. They have been a lock just about every single week with covering the spread. And then Patriots and Bengals. The Patriots covered it, but they did not look good. They made the Bengals look like a 500 team that might be trying to play for a wild card spot or something like that. And then in the Super Bowl revenge game, the Falcons upset the 49ers in San Francisco and scored the 2 quickest touchdowns in NFL history. I'm not saying the Falcons are going to win the Super Bowl this year, but the Falcons are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
It's a lock. It's a
Uh,
lock, right?
Also, shout out to Kyle Shanahan for saying that this was our Super Bowl, the Falcons Super Bowl, and that's why we came prepared. And I just like to give him the finger and tell him where he can go because we'd have a Super Bowl if it wasn't for him. Outside of that, my $3 parlay got off to a really bad start with the Jets Baltimore game, and then from there it went downhill with your Bears and Packers pick, and I didn't even check on the Browns Cardinals because it was just over by then. So let's get into week 5 picks. And since for the first time in a couple weeks you lost, I will hand it to you for your first pick.
All right. So the first one, I'm going to stick with the NFL. I'm going to go with, let me get here my copy paste out. I'm going to go with the Raiders at Chargers, a little West Coast action. Chargers are a favorite by 7 points, and the odds are even. So I think that the Chargers can get the job done here. But I also like those odds being even. The Raiders just have been sliding really, really bad. They're not playing any more games in the black hole, which I think is, going to be a little bit of a letdown for the team, knowing that they lost last week in their last game. And I think that the Chargers can do enough with their defense, force Derek Carr to make enough mistakes that it'll kind of overshadow Philip Rivers' guaranteed mistakes. 7 points, I always say it's a lot in the NFL, but with it being even odds and it being in LA, I like it. I'll kind of roll the dice here, go a little bit aggressive this week compared to my previous weeks.
Sure. Yeah. I think this is a game that nobody really plans to have on TV. Nobody really plans on watching, which might help your cause here one way or the other. All right, let's go over here. So my first pick, I mentioned it a little earlier. I'm going to stick with them because nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. I got Bills at Patriots. Bills going to cover the 6.5-point spread. This is ridiculous. Bills, they're just getting no credit. They're getting no respect.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. I mean, the last game that they played in Buffalo, Patriots only won by 6 points. And I don't know if you've watched any of the Patriots, but their offense looks like just terrible. I find this to be one of the easiest picks of the week, and it's actually gone up from 6 to 6.5 over the last couple of days. So easily, I'll take this with my first one.
Yeah, I like it. I said last week the Bills have the it factor. I wanted that game last week, and I like this one here. It's going to be tough. Bill Belichick, never count him out, but this means more for the Bills. And again, no one circles the wagon.
It's you never count out touchdown Tom, not Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And it looks like we have a comment from a viewer right now, from a Joshua Ramos, that Falcons had their shot and they broke all of Georgia's hearts, and I would agree with that. I still wake up crying in the middle of the night because of that game.
I can confirm.
What do you got next?
Next, I'm gonna stick with the NFL, and I'm gonna stick with one of the picks one of the teams that I made. I guess it's actually two teams that I made last week. Little favoritism cooking for me. It's going to be another Monday night. I think this is 3 weeks where I've gone Monday night in a row. Green Bay Packers at Minnesota Vikings. Let me get this changed over to keep a little bit of continuity in our presentation. And I'm going to go with Green Bay plus 4.5. A lot of this has to do with the Dalvin Cook news. I think that's ultimately going to be the difference in the game. I like the Packers secondary versus the Vikings wide receivers. And I think that if you make Kirk Cousins throw the ball more than they can just pitch it and hand it off to Dalvin Cook, that the defense can continue being the number 2 team in the league on turnovers. Packers offense right now seems to be clicking on all cylinders. I say that, and they've been scoring like 25 points each week. But they do look good. They seem like they're just a couple points here and there away from busting out a big one. So in this one where it could ultimately decide the NFC and a pretty significant playoff seeding, I'm going to go Green Bay with 4.5. Not entirely sure if they win, but 4.5 in this one I like. It's also plus 190 odds, so I'm getting almost $2 for every dollar that I bet. So, being aggressive, trying to get back into that commanding lead that I'm comfortable in on our season total.
Sure. Well, I don't necessarily agree with you on the pick, but I do have to say that Aaron Rodgers isn't even the best Aaron on his own team.
And that's what I said last week. Yeah, that's what I said last week.
That's a pretty big shock. It's a pretty big shock. All right, let's go to my next one. I think for this one, we're going to end up going back to college. So I think we decided Wednesday or Thursday of next week being the cutoff for bowl games that we're going to do. So this first one I'm going to take is Washington at Boise State. This is the Las Vegas Bowl.
I have that exact same game. Exact same game, exact same bet. Yep, I like it.
Look at that. I'm going to take Boise with the money line. And really it comes down to, factoring in where is this game taking place. It's in Las Vegas. Boise State, is a big Mormon school. And they're not necessarily known for taking part in all of the fun activities or funtivities that Las Vegas has to offer. So I think the Washington players a little let down the way their season went. Going to come in, have a lot of fun, enjoy the bowl experience. And Boise State always has a chip on their shoulder. With this only being, I think, a 2.5-point game, Boise is going to come in and win this game outright. So,
are they a big Mormon school? I did not know that. I thought they were a big potato picking school. I didn't know. I didn't know that
I,
they crossed
I
over
didn't
like
realize
that.
that was actually a religion.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'll have to go do my research on potato picking as a religion itself.
Pickology. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
pickology. Okay.
yeah. Well, I like it. Yeah, that's a good pick. I like it. Let me get into my next one. I'm also going to follow your trend, kind of dipping my toes into the bowl game madness. Um, let me get it crossed over here. Central Michigan at San Diego State. I guess that really shouldn't be at. It should just be versus since it's a bowl game. Um, I like San Diego State -3 here. I like kind of what they've been doing on the season. San Diego State's a great defense, and we all know that Central Michigan's normally good within their division against the Wyomings and the whatnots. But San Diego State just a beast of the Pacific Conference. Sorry, the just the Pacific. um, so I think that the defense ultimately is going to be the difference here. I think 3 points is not nearly going to be enough. So -170, not really great odds, but I want to go for one a little bit safer. We'll go with -3 San Diego State.
Interesting. Okay.
Also,
Um,
what is the Chippewa? Can you tell me?
Look, I think this, along with the Raiders Chargers game, could be two of the least watched games of the week. So I don't really know.
It's college football playoffs, man, or bowl season. You got to watch all of them. You're not going to call out a work sick.
Probably not for those.
Okay.
Probably not for those. All right. So my third pick. Let's look over here. I'm gonna take the. This will be right up your alley. You're gonna love this one.
Okay.
In the theme of games that nobody's actually gonna watch, I'm gonna take the Steelers at Jets game. I'm gonna take the under 37 and a half.
Wow.
Um,
It's a low number.
if you've ever watched these two play, you kind of understand why. They're two good defensive teams with two really bad offenses, and that's really all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, I don't like touching games with a 37. What is that? 6, 17, 18 points each. Um, I don't know. I like to give credit to NFL players. I know that they're not two of the best teams, especially with backup quarterbacks. Well, they might as well have a backup quarterback in New York. But 37, I don't know if I like that, especially with only -106. We'll see. I'm going to stick with college football here. I'm going to go with a little Willie Taggart Hayton. I'm going to go with SMU -3.5. This pick is pretty specifically focused on the FAU Owls. I think that having a turnover with Lane Kiffin leaving and Willie Taggart coming in um, is going to be way too much of a distraction for this team. SMU, they were highly touted. They were, I think, up to 15 at one point in the season when they had College Game Day in Memphis, or was it in SMU? It was one of the two. Um,
It was in Memphis, yeah,
it was
and
in
then they,
Memphis. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
So SMU's been sliding the past couple weeks. Not really as formidable as they've been, but I don't see FAU being up to the challenge here. I think that, Willie Taggart is going to do what Willie Taggart does. Tweet ring rings and welcome to paradise tweets and probably hit some nays with his players and just be too much of a distraction. So go Knowles. Welcome Mike Norvell and see ya, Willie.
Wow, someone sounds like a bitter ex-girlfriend. I had the same pick at the top of my list, but just for different reasons, more of just SMU having something to prove, the Rumble Ponies, trying to get back on top and be a program that people know. But I wouldn't put it past Willie to coach FAU to a good game if he's even going to coach the bowl, just because he's actually going to have a really good roster that was recruited by Lane Kiffin. So he's actually got playmakers that can make plays. So we'll see. But I like the pick. I would have taken the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Fourth pick for me. Let's see here. Yep, gonna do it. Gonna do it for a third week in a row because I can't stop the Lamar love. I'm gonna take the Ravens at the Browns, at the Baker Mayfield Browns. Ravens -10. If it was -15, I'd still take it. I think the Ravens are just going to wipe the floor with the Browns because the Browns are just an awful organization. So that's my fourth one for the week.
Yeah, I like it. My last pick, I'm going to go back into the NFL and kind of hit on something that I already talked about earlier, picking against Detroit here. Denver, not exactly the same type of team as the Bucks by any means, but Detroit's just a horrible team right now. They have no defense. They have no offense. Um, you know, having them go up into the Mile High City against the elite Joe Flacco.
You're gonna
No,
have
he's
a
been.
really depressing. You're gonna have a really depressing upcoming weekend in several days if these are the games you're watching and making
Oh,
your
are
family
you
watch
kidding
with
me?
you.
I am locked into these. I am locked in. Listen, Grandma, Dancing with the Stars can wait. We're watching SMU versus FAU, and split screen, I'm going to be streaming Detroit Denver on my phone. So sorry. Merry Christmas. I love you.
Oh,
So anyways,
yeah.
yeah, Denver -7. Again, a lot of points. That's an entire touchdown, but um, Matt Stafford has been officially put on the IR. Not that there was any doubt that he was going to play, but really just home field advantage against an absolutely horrible Detroit team. This game for me as my fifth pick was a little bit easier than I've had in other weeks. I see Denver covering this maybe twice as much.
All right. Well, you'll have to let me know how that game ends up, and a lot of these because I will not be watching them. All right. Let's see here for the last game. I've been going around back and forth on this game, and I really don't know who I want to take. So what I'm actually going to do is when I copy this over to take the game, I'm going to change the bet that I'm making, and I'm doing this
Okay.
right here on the fly. This is great podcasting. But I'm going to take the Cowboys at Eagles game, and I'm going to take
Yep.
Philadelphia to cover the 2.5.
I like it. Yeah, I like that.
I think the Cowboys, especially after last week, what they did to the Rams, look like the better team. But again, this is the NFC East where it's kind of like whose line is it? The points don't matter, the players don't matter, the teams don't matter. Hell, I mean, Washington Redskins looked good up until the last 2 minutes of that game against the Eagles. But um, I just think it's weird. It's Philly. Philly doesn't have any of the receivers, but damn it, they'll find a way to win because that's just the way that this year's going for the NFC East. So I'll take Philly to cover. I don't have to update the odds on that one, but yeah. So that's the last of my 5.
All right. Well, yeah, I think we did a good job here. Again, we're covering the entire NFL slate for the weekend, and then we're only going to touch the bowl games up until 7 days from now. So we're not going anywhere near the whole slate. We're going to bring you guys a little bit something else later on, going over the bowl games. But we did want to have a little bit of NCAA action just so we weren't, choosing 10 of the 16 NFL games because that would be way too difficult, as seen by my consistent 40% picks. So I'm going to start off on the $3 parlay. I'm going to take my own. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to take Packers Vikings. I wanted to do Raiders Chargers, but I'm going to do Packers Vikings because why not? This game is the only one that's worth watching on my picks, so why not make it a little bit extra interesting?
dig that hole. Dig that
Yeah,
hole, baby.
yeah, just dig it. Dig it. And then the next one's going to be the one that I liked on yours, your Washington at Boise State bowl game. So that'll be there. And last, I'm going to go with an NFL, pretty much just a spite pick, a hate pick if you can. It's going to be Carolina Panthers at Tennessee. And this is not at Tennessee. This is at Indy. I'm just going to say Colts. I don't know where I got Tennessee from. It's going to be Panthers with an H at Colts. I can't believe that Carolina's favored or an underdog by 6.5 points. I don't know if the bookmakers were watching how bad the Colts were. I know it was in the Super Bowl Dome Bowl thing.
Super Bowl dome.
Super Bowl Dome. But the Colts were horrible. I mean, they were horrible. They could not run the ball. They could not pass the ball. They could not tackle. They were just bad. The Panthers. I know that it's a average Panthers team, but you still have Christian McCaffrey. Add 6 points. What did Christian
I
McCaffrey
just
just tear his ACL like 30 seconds ago?
I I'll be surprised if they play him a lot, especially with Will Greer not going to get the start for the Panthers this week.
Feed the beast. Feed the beast. I actually got my haircut to look like Christian McCaffrey's. I don't know if you guys noticed. Um,
We did. Everybody did.
so okay, good. Good. So that'll be my pick. It's also an even odd, where I can really try to win my first $3 parlay and make some money out of it. So I like it. It's again, last week it was out of my control. Things happened, but this week is a lock. This week is a lock.
Sure. Well, in the interest of time, because like Michael alluded to, we are going to do a bull podcast as well. That's going to come up here pretty shortly. We'll get back to adding the two wins and the results and all that for both the $3 parlay and the games themselves. We'll go ahead and pick the games, and then we'll assign the wagers, and we'll post what those end up looking like. But
By the way,
for
while
your
you're doing this, I just want to make a comment. All
sure,
the entire podcast, you've never had this little banner with the season totals.
I just figured it out today.
The
Apparently, we can do
entire
tickers.
time. But I just think it's funny now that you're up for the first week. You've kept it you've kept it rolling the entire time. It's just like laughing at me every
Well, I
time.
mean, look. I know you were used to being ahead, but
Yeah, and
to
I
be
wanted the
honest, it
world
was
to see it.
by what, like 5, 10, 15 cents at a time. And now that I've got a $5 lead, like I don't know. That's I think that's worth scrolling around, considering how I started out this podcast. So
Yeah. No, you're right.
um,
You're right. All
we'll
right, go
keep it
ahead. Go
going.
ahead.
This is a
Yep.
feature I found out today, but thanks for pointing that out. That I'm ahead by so much. All right. So your game that I'm going to take is Detroit at Denver. Denver -7. I agree with everything you said. Detroit's just terrible. I mean, look at what they let Jameis Winston do to them. All right. So the game that I'm going to end up taking, let's see here. I'm going to end up going with Ravens at Browns. Ravens -10.
You just
Nothing,
you
nothing
love
like
to
letting
hate the
them.
Ravens. Yeah.
I love the Ravens.
You go to Ravens Anonymous.
Yeah, well, let me go get my Timmy Jernigan jersey and we'll see how that goes. All right, and then the third game that I'm going to take. Oh man, I think your Colts pick is going to flop just because that's the way that life works and that's the way the universe works.
Screw you.
And to just drop on even more, I'm going to take the Saints at
Ah,
Titans game. Titans plus
Titans
two and a half.
plus two and a
They're
half.
not
You're
getting they're not
crazy.
getting enough credit. Look at this, -108 for the Titans to cover. The Titans are the home team. You got to get Drew Brees outside in the cold
That's
in
true.
Tennessee.
That's
Tennessee's
true.
known to be a football town. Everybody knows Nashville is a football town.
I mean, that's right.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You don't
The
think
the the
about you
ten,
don't think about Nashville without Tennessee.
no the Tennessee Titans are the Buffalo Bills of the AFC South. They don't get any respect. Ryan Tannehill's the best quarterback in the AFC, just about outside of Lamar.
Can't argue with you there.
Prove me
Cannot at
wrong.
all.
So we'll go ahead and get these updated, and when we go through and post a recap on Twitter, we'll put what there is to win and what everybody's $3 parlays look like. But we'll go ahead and cut it
Before
short
before
tonight.
we before
Yeah,
we sign
go
off, I
ahead.
just want to go through my quick wager. So it's going to be pretty easy because I've been trying to, go at least have a little bit of strategy to where I put my money, allocate my ten
$9
dollars.
on Packers. Let's go, Pack,
No, no,
go.
no, no, no. I'm just going to do a nice, easy $2 right down the middle. Um, it's screw trying to get mathematical and see this. No, no, just $2 each game. Easy, breezy, beautiful. Cover girl,
Cover Michael.
cover Michael.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.